Nuclear Option is a game with airplanes, tanks, nukes, ships, an epic soundtrack, and bigger nukes. It's something of a flight sim, RTS, sandbox, YouTube content farm all rolled into one. It has no grind, doesn't require a $300 headset and a barf bag, isn't excessively arcadey to make you feel like an actual pilot, but spares you of waiting 10 minutes for the INS to align before you're even allowed to start up your plane, spending the next 20 minutes on the taxiway, and then getting sniped by a glide bomb the instant that you reach the runway, because they're her realism. The point is, it's got something for everyone who might even be slightly interested in the concept, which is why it's super popular. Now, there is something of an issue when you dump like 400 hours into a game like this, and it's that you tend to run out of things to try, and then the game gets very boring and you quit and you come back 5 years later and everything has changed and there is nothing recognizable, and you get taught a very harsh lesson about the passage of time and the irrelevance of man. Typically, the remedy to this is to go to download mods off the Steam Workshop, and that is of course an option for Nuclear Option players. Everyone should experience the joys of beating 6 PM rush hour traffic at downtown Feldspar for free shrimp, and the woes of being sent to the abyss by the patron deity of the pro-toiletarians. But I want to talk about the other mods. There are mods that you simply cannot find on the Steam Workshop. Over the past few months or so, a vibrant community of modders who want to change the game in ways that are more involved in adding new missions or liveries has developed, and even flourished. And in this video, I want to showcase what they have been cooking for the last few months. What does this mod change? Everything. Quality of life is a misnomer. I tried getting my friends to play this, and one of them said to me, Paxel, this mod, right? You gotta understand, the game is peak, you cannot improve on peak. Incorrect! Changes made by QoL include more weapons such as glide bombs, stealth missile pods, hypersonic missiles for the Dark Reach, new air-to-air missiles, flare pods, increased flare counts for aircraft across the board, rebalancing of flares and seekers, jammer pods for a bunch of vehicles, the funny stick of death, new weapon loadouts for planes, almost all the guns have options for belts now, there's been a rebalancing of all the guns, they generally have more ammo across the board, all the vehicles have received stat changes to help them better lean into their role. As an example, the Chicane can light up 8 targets with its laser for guided rockets, while the Ifrit performs closer to how you expect a high-end 5th generation fighter to actually perform. Your pilot no longer G-locks after 2 seconds of holding down the D key, it's slightly more lenient now, you have no idea how annoying this was on keyboard and mouse. Changes to weapons across the board to give the player more options. Rebalancing of ground vehicles and ships. Tarantula and Ibis can now actually carry useful cargo that you can drop now. Arguably, most importantly, a new gun sight has been added that shows both leading and lagging indicators at the same time. That was not an exhaustive list, and I will be here for the next hour if I read the changelogs, which you can find in the description below in the Google Doc that I linked. But you can clearly tell a lot of work and passion went into this mod. It makes some changes that make you go, why isn't this in the main game, you know? Recon, jamming, and capturing should be rewarded better. We should have a better vanilla gun sight, and the VL-49 and Ibis should have more utility. But because it's a silly mod that is enforced onto the players by default, the solo dev actually, Ofri, who is currently hard carrying the modding scene, along with another guy called Nico Rap, but that's just my opinion, can get away with some of the more wacky changes. It's nice to not have IR missiles being completely useless. It's nice to not instantly black out when turning on keyboard and mouse. It's nice to have some stealth glide bombs that pack a punch and are harder to shoot down. When I play with my friends, we often set the income to some stupid high level and then quit halfway through, because even though we're rolling in cash, we can't convert that cash into kills, courtesy of the Loco Stratolance battery supplied by a HLT supply truck. With quality of life, just load up a Dark Reach with the hypersonics and another with the air-to-air missiles, and then problem will just solve itself after you select some targets and hold down the spacebar for a little bit. Now, if this was PvP, of course, you want to disable some of those weapons in the server setup, but the last time I checked, NPCs weren't actually entitled to protection under the Geneva Conventions of this world, and as we all know, the Primevan Armed Liberation Alliance can never do any wrongs. Or alternatively, you can just conduct a saturation attack with the Tuskos and they will actually work. With some of the changes this mod makes, especially when it comes to supplies. Now, when I show this to my friends, they're like, oh, wait, it's quality of life that's gonna make the game so easy. And my response is, maybe, like, marginally? Stratolances are still gonna smack you the same whether you have quality of life installed or not. And with quality of life installed, you have to also worry about these new Fangle ship launch R6s, which are basically this mod's version of the AIM-174. Quality of life is a fun mod. It has new content that you should try out. I know that sometimes I can have a bad taste when it comes to mods, especially my friends have told me that. But surely 3.5 thousand people cannot have the same bad taste as well. I literally made this video so I can convince my friends to try this mod. On April 1st, 2025, someone posted a workshop item that claimed to add the F-16 Fighting Falcon into Nuclear Option. that was an April Fool's joke, a pretty well made one with these fake changelogs that got a bunch of people, me included, but the nuclear option community only had to wait 2 more months before an actual aircraft mod was published. The FQ-106 mod adds a new drone of the same name. It carries a decent amount, turns like there's no tomorrow, can't black out, has basically no fuel, and comes with a self-contained explosive device to allow you to make your best impression of a fish state pickup truck driver. This plane is basically Loyal Wingman +++, but piloted by a human, so it's not exactly a loyal wingman. It's not so strong as to make vanilla manned aircraft that can carry more and fly longer completely obsolete. This is the first of many mods from the Primeva 2082 series, which QoL is technically a part of, that are planned to add new modded airplanes into the game. The same team is currently working on an F-15EX equivalent that can carry over 20 sives for air-to-air combat, called the FS-3 Turnion. It's supposed to be the low end of a so-called high-low mix in 2082, which is one of those terms that certain air power related channels put in front of a long chain of buzzwords like they think their videos are some sort of sandbox game where the objective is to turn a news story that is supposed to be 5 minutes max into 25 minutes through applying as many buzzwords as possible. But what it basically means is you're gonna have a stealth fighter, it's gonna sit in the front of the battlefield, and then the FS-3 will sit in the very back, wait at like 50,000 feet, Mach 2, and yeet sipes and scimitars at Mach 6 that will crumple whatever they hit. Man, that was such a long rant fueled by only hatred and malice. Anyways, I wonder who made the F-16 mod. No way. This is actually the real quality of life mod in this video. NOTT for short. This mod adds a bunch of features that I have been using completely wrong this whole time. I got this mod and was like, yeah, artificial horizon, weapon status indicators, slightly more immersive MFD, that's neat, I guess, but apparently there's more. It has custom keybinds for countermeasures, weapon selection, target list sorting. Basically, this means that you can hit a notch while flaring an IR missile while setting your target selection to only enemy missiles, so you can shoot down the inbound sife with your own IR missile before immediately switching to your air-to-ground target set that you picked out 5 minutes earlier and leveling like 3 buildings with bombs or cruise missiles or whatever you happen to be carrying. You really cannot go wrong with this mod. It's an autopilot mod. Good if you want to play as AWACS and just fly tracks. Also comes with auto throttle to make landings easier and GCAS to reduce the chance of you slamming into the earth after holding D for a second too long. Like, seriously, the greed of the earth is biblical. Its KDR is a divide by 0 error, and it still wants more kills. Okay, I'm gonna go by the next 3 mods really quick since they're mostly just novelty, but that doesn't mean they're bad, which is why I'm featuring them. This one does what it says on the tin. It's a good to have. Would be really nice if you had like something similar to War Thunder controls, but you know, it doesn't. This turns the game into realistic ace combat with a backseat announcer. If you play single player, this may give the game a lot of flavor, which is a concept that certain Hoi4 YouTubers do not understand. Not actually developed for nuclear option, but this mod still works with it. You can replace sounds such as the RWR from the generic RWR tone to the lore accurate ANALR 56 warning sounds to get the top tier Strike Eagle experience from that one War Thunder knockoff on Roblox. At this point you might be going, wow, all of these mods seem pretty tame, but what about the wild stuff? You know, when I play some game, I want to introduce T-80 crews conscripted from the coldest reaches of Siberia to the wonders of network-centric warfare, vaporize aliens above Saturn with a 1.2 gigawatt laser, and snipe bears with an ARH SM2ER that clips the floor and goes at Mach 29. Don't worry, friend. The nuclear option modding community has got you covered as well. So, a while ago, I came upon this video on YouTube with the ominous title of Nuclear Option 20 Kiloton Hexhound, and I was like, actually, that's a pretty neat mod. I wonder when it will come out. And apparently that mod was already out and I just wasn't looking hard enough. Now, it has to be said that half the things in this mod are broken right now, courtesy of one of the dependencies being like 6 months old at this point, which is like at least 2 major updates ago, but you know, try it for the 20 kiloton Hexhound. He's just a silly guy, you know, just don't shoot at him. Besides the Hexhound, there's also a force field for your helicopter, a 150 AGM-48 loadout for the Dark Reach, railguns of the will break your plane into pieces, and the will not break your plane into pieces, incredibly strong AAM that makes you think it's supposed to outcompete the AAM-36, but it's actually closer to a Meteor because it just keeps following you for like the next 60 minutes no matter how hard you turn. We also have the Space Guard turret network, which unfortunately is broken right now. A very upgun dynamo that kind of approaches the minimum in terms of firepower of what the Germans might classify as a frigate, but like the jury's still out on that. Hopefully some of the broken stuff gets fixed in the future so we can enjoy this mod's full glory. This mod lets you put anything on any hardpoint, but of course failure to respect the laws of physics or greed for power will be punished. Oh, and of course the rotating turrets can and will often hit your plane, so go easy on those as well. But besides that, this mod works as advertised. Want to put some of the AGM-68s on an Ifrit? Go right ahead. Inside of you are 2 quality of life mods. You are the nuclear option modding community. Technically, the other quality of life mod is just one guy taking requests and making random stuff, such as this mod that just lets you replace the turret lock tone with a clip of IFFDB3. The weapon utilities mod series by the same guy is basically a set of DIY mods that allow you to change how your weapons perform to make them really strong or give yourself infinite flares or infinite ammo or whatnot. Do note that if you increase the speed of missiles, that goes both ways, and you should start notching. I know it's been like 2 seconds since you just fired your scythe, but the enemy scythe is already here and Jeff Bezos. In conclusion, Nuclear Option has an incredible modding community and a variety of mods for you to play with, whether you want to mess around in single player or play with friends in almost something resembling like a vanilla plus environment. The modding community has got you covered. There are also mods that I didn't feature on this video, mainly because I haven't actually tried them. I'm also very excited for what's coming in the future. There's the Turnion, which is coming soon, so you know we're gonna have it at least in the next 6 years. The Cursed Weapons mod might get fixed in the future, and it looks like the various weapon utilities mods are getting merged into one mod for easier management. How do you install mods? You can either go get the Nuclear Option Modding Manager, which is a new thing, which looks to be like Nuclear Option's version of CCAN. Or you can install mods manually. You just need to get BepinEx, drag like 3 files over, run the game twice, and then change 2 settings. It's easier than modding Minecraft, let's be for real. Anyways, if you like this non-comprehensive overview of the Nuclear Option modding scene, subscribe and like, and I think that would be really cool if you did that. Goodbye!